Hello, my fellow art nerds, and welcome back to another Not Quite Speed Paint. My name is Jessie, one of Wing Canvas's cartooning and anime teachers, and today we will be drawing Animal Crossing Gijinkas. For those of you who do not know, a Gijinka is a non-human character drawn as if they were a human, usually with attributes of the original design aiding in either their outfit or physical traits. The majority of Gijinkas I've seen have been Pokemon, but with Animal Crossing's release, their Gijinkas have been spiking in popularity, so I figured I'd give it a try. The characters who I will be drawing for this Not Quite Speed Paint are Coco, Whitney, Raymond, and Bob. All of those villagers currently reside on my island, and they're also some of my favorite villagers. This video will be a part 1 of 2. The second part will be Gijinkas of main NPC characters such as Tom Nook and Red and Isabelle, and those ones will be coming in a future video. So without further ado, let's get arting. For this piece, I decided to kind of have an arrangement where all the characters were in kind of this one big meetup scene. I figured it was a little bit more interesting than kind of just having them one by one in a row facing the same direction, which I see more of, with like a blank background. They all have like really cool designs, but they're all just kind of standing there. So I figured it would be more interesting to kind of have them interacting with one another, gives them a little bit of character, gives them a little personality, and it feels a little bit more interesting to look at. So you'll see a bit of a different process here where I do everyone at once rather than finishing them one at a time. That way it kind of helps me with arrangements, so it kind of tells me like, oh, I kind of like this here, kind of like that there, and if I don't like it, then I can just erase it and then redo it, and nothing's really lost because it's all just the sketch. I do have a tendency to do everything in a very, very small amount of layers. Usually for my bigger pieces, I have like 10-ish layers, but in this one, for my line art, I actually decided to do it in multiple layers. Same with everybody's color, mainly because that way it would kind of help with organizational stuff down the road. Like just kind of being able to use the paint bucket, because Photoshop's paint bucket sucks. So this way, with having multiple layers, it'll kind of help with, I have Raymond and Bob in the far back, and then Whitney and Coco in the forefront, and then like that bench that's kind of in between them all. So that way it'll kind of help me with that sort of arrangement. So for my choices with Coco, generally I see whenever people do a Gijinka of Coco, I see people make her either super cute or super creepy. Coco is definitely is like a fan favorite in terms of the horror community, which I am kind of a lurker, a part of, but I see a lot of things where people make her either super creepy or super cute, but I kind of wanted that a little bit of a blend of the two to fit more of her timid personality since she is a normal type. So she doesn't seem, with her voice lines, she doesn't seem very, very creepy. Like it's just her design. She likes to bake, she likes to read, like kind of granny-ish things, but I figured I'd kind of give her, kind of a younger vibe. I kind of wanted to make her seem a little bit more just kind of shy and reserved rather than actually creepy. So I kind of wanted to just kind of give her that sort of personality, even though like she also has those hollow eyes and that hollow mouth design, which is super popular, and I didn't really know how to do that on a proper human face. I kind of gave her just a mask. I figured that might help a little bit. It'll also kind of give her that smidge of creepiness, even though she's not really, in terms of personality, she's not very creepy. But I did kind of want to keep that in there. So even though she has this kind of cute little stature, I still want that hint of creepy in there. And I kept her in her normal outfit, like the default one that she comes with, because it just kind of felt right. I've given her a lot of outfits in game, but like, to be honest, like nothing has ever been too much better than her original. Like I gave her, actually, you know what, I gave her the, I don't actually know what the name of the piece is, but it's like a Chinese dress. I gave her that one, and like the red one, and it looks really, really good on her, but I decided to just keep her in the dress that she has there. It'll also fit with the overall palette that I have with everyone kind of going on. It's a very brown, green, blue palette, which is a palette that I very heavily default to, I find. But it just kind of fit her, kind of gave her that more earthy look. I figured the red would be a little bit too contrasty, so I kind of didn't bother with that. For Whitney's design, Whitney is hands down my most beautiful villager. I've seen a lot of people, because she is like a completely white wolf, I've decided to kind of give her some of that white hair, but I've seen a lot of people give her completely white hair. For me, I didn't really want to do that. I kind of wanted to deviate from that a little bit. So instead, as somebody who also has dyed tips, I decided to give her some dyed tips. So I kind of had her hair as blonde, coming down into that super ice blue that she is so well known for. But I think like I played around with the blonde a lot. If you didn't know, Whitney does actually have some like very light yellow belly fur, and her paws also fade into that color, I think. So like I kind of wanted to like give a little bit of allude to that a little bit. Sorry, I was looking for the word. I tried the super platinum. I don't know where in the video we are right now. But I tried to give her that super bright platinum blonde at first, and I was like, oh, I don't really like that. So I was like, all right, I better change this blonde a couple more times. And I changed it a bunch of times, and I was like, oh man, maybe I should just scrap the blonde altogether. So I tried the pure white, and I didn't really like it. So I was like, okay. And then I went for a darker blonde, and I think that the darker blonde fit a little bit better, especially because Raymond has such bright platinum blonde hair. So I was like, all right, I might as well give Whitney something a little bit different than the platinum. And I honestly just didn't think that the platinum looked that good on her, so I switched it out for a bit of a darker blonde. I also kind of wanted to give her more of a powerful businesswoman vibe. Like everyone that I've seen draw Whitney, most of the people I've seen draw Whitney give her like the cute dresses, and like, you know, she's mature, but she still is like very summery, very, very just kind of, you know, elegant more so. For me, I really kind of, I don't even know why, I always, whenever I read Whitney's voice lines, I imagine her with an English accent. That's the first thing. Second thing is that she always kind of, because she's my only snooty villager, she kind of gives that like strong, powerful, will fire you if you cross her once vibe, you know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to give her that, so I gave her the bun rather than have her hair completely loose. I really love to draw long flowing hair, like you can see it with Coco, so I got my fix with Coco to draw her hair super, super long. But with Whitney, I decided to kind of keep it in the bun. Again, that like kind of, that's a very businesswoman haircut, I think, the bun. To keep your hair out of the way, you don't need to worry about it, it's out of the way. Yeah, no, especially like with the career jacket that I gave her in game. I mentioned that in the last video. I gave Whitney the blue career jacket, and I 100%, like, I still recommend giving that to Whitney. It is like the most powerful look, dude. Like, it is the best. I give her that, and then sometimes she wears sunglasses with it, and it's like, ugh, it's the most powerful look, and I do not regret. Every single time that I see her wearing it, I'm like, yes, she kills it. She kills that look. But yeah, it is 100% my favorite outfit on her. So I decided to kind of keep that on her in this illustration, even though her default is that kind of, it's a blue dress. I don't really know what it's called, but I decided to give her the career jacket instead to give her that powerful businesswoman vibe that I wanted. But yeah, that's kind of all my decisions when I did Whitney. For Raymond's design, his design here is probably the least original out of all of them. So, you know, like I see a lot of people do Raymond. Like Raymond is probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular Animal Crossing Gijinka that I see everywhere, just because, you know, Raymond is a fan favorite. He was super popular, maybe too popular for a while, but you know, yeah, so I didn't really have too much like, you know, like differentiating mine from everyone else's, because I'm like, oh, I see all of these everywhere, and like now that's in my brain, that's just how I see his Gijinka. I'm like, there's no other way. You know, like the blonde hair, the tall ears, you know, the suit, everything like that. For mine though, I decided to kind of give him black gloves, you know, because he has black paws. So even in game, like I'll give him an outfit and like I'll see his like little black paws and I'm like, oh, it looks like he's wearing gloves. So I decided to just keep that. I thought that that would be kind of cute. It is a little unfortunate that I decided to close his eyes in this piece since he has heterochromia. For those who don't know, heterochromia is having two different colored eyes, and that's what a lot of people like about his design. He has that kind of cool multicolored eye look, but I decided to close his eyes. I don't really know why, but actually I really like whenever he smiles at somebody in game, like his eyes closed, his little mouth, but he doesn't really have like a very upturned mouth. It's just kind of still in that little upside down V shape, and I think that's really cute. So I decided to just kind of keep his eyes closed, kind of fit the smiling emote in Animal Crossing. But I also kind of decided to keep his clothes exactly the same because I was too lazy to look up something else. In general, he's a very officey cat. He's a very corporate cat. I remember that being his nickname for a while. He was the corporate cat. And like honestly, not much else looks very good on him. Like I have the, what else did I put him in? I put him in like I think it was the collarless coat I have him in as well. I gave him a trench coat. I gave him a biker jacket. I gave him a bomber jacket. My goal with the Raymond that was on my island when I got Raymond was to dress him like a Toronto photographer. So I was like, yeah, let's just put him in all these hipster outfits and all these suits and all these kind of like, like very urban outfits. So then my friendship with him grew pretty fast, but I decided to just kind of keep him in the same kind of default jacket that he has when you first get him. It looks good on him, fits his palette, so I might just like, you know what, why change it, you know? Pretty general, because to be honest, it kind of what he is. For Bob's design, Bob on my island is like the chillest guy, dude. Like I know that everyone draws him as like this super chill guy, but I love Bob. When I see a lot of other people draw him, there's a lot of variance. I never really see two that are too similar. Like a lot of people draw him differently. You know, some people make him darker, some people make him lighter. You know, it varies from person to person. So personally, I didn't really have a super clear idea when I first started drawing him, other than I really wanted to give him like super curly poofy hair. Like I wanted to give him like almost an afro. Like I don't really know why. I was just like, it just feels like something Bob would sport. So I decided to just kind of give him that. And then from there, everything else just kind of fell into place, right? So I made Bob a little bit darker. I gave him kind of an outfit that I'd see around me a lot because like I see that outfit a lot when I kind of walk around and I'm like, all right, yeah, that seems about appropriate. Yeah, so I decided to go with the tee parka combo. I wanted him to have that drip, you know? Like everyone else my age says, you gotta have that drip, bro. But yeah, I didn't really have that clear of an idea with Bob. I just kind of let my pen go and I was like, all right, that seems about right. And like by the end I was like, yeah, that seems something that Bob might look like. It seems like a kind of a Bob design. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I do love my really bold, thick line work. This piece isn't really any different. I'm a huge fan of really crisp, strong line work for the kind of personality that it brings with it, if that makes any sense. My roots come from drawing a lot of anime and whatnot, but as I've grown older, I find that I also integrate some Western stylization in there as well, which is where I think the bold line work comes from. You know, I did grow up with Western cartoons. I didn't grow up with anime. I think as I got older, I got more into anime, and I really wanted that art style for a really long time. But when I was really young, I watched a lot of, Cartoon Network, and I watched a lot of Teletoon and all that. So my main inspirations came from Western cartoons. How I determine where things should be thicker and where things should be thinner, I think anyway, is pretty simple. My thinner lines are used for detail work and clothing creases and all that. Thicker line work is used for the outer lines and areas that may require more shadow, like in between chunks of hair or whatever. My reasoning behind that is that you want to draw more attention to the bigger picture. When you have bolder line work on the outsides of your figures, it gives the viewers a better idea of your artwork silhouette or your figure's silhouette. You want to have the detail work come second to the overall figure. If you make your detail line work as bold as your outer line work, it can make the piece feel really crowded. So say if you have this dress or this this top on a character, right? And there's like all these crazy details on the inside, right? Maybe it's a very Art Nouveau kind of looking dress or kind of looking top. And if the details on the inside of that top have the same line weight as the outside of your main character, it's going to be like your eyes don't really know where to go first. By giving certain areas thicker line work and certain areas thinner line work, you're giving certain areas priority. Like if you give your silhouette this really dark, bold line work and your details on the inside really thin line work, you're giving priority to the outer areas of your main silhouette. You're giving priority to the main silhouette, and that's what you want. You don't want to give too much priority to your detail work. So my general rule of thumb is that your silhouette should come first with your detail work coming second. This can vary, of course, since I know like some people prefer to line without pen pressure. I sketch a lot without pen pressure, which is actually really fun. But then those people also have tricks to make sure everything doesn't look as muddy, like changing the line work color and whatnot, so then they still that distinction between them, but instead they're using color rather than weighting. But yeah, summary of all that is bold line work should be for the main silhouette, thinner line work for your details. And with that, this piece is complete. Thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun doing this one, just like the past piece that I did. If you like this video, make sure to leave a comment and hit that like button, hit subscribe so you never have to miss an upload. You can also join our little community of art nerds on Instagram, Facebook, or Discord, links down below, and share this video with a fellow art nerd and Animal Crossing lover, since we art nerds all gotta stick together. Make sure to keep an eye out for the next part of our Animal Crossing Gijinkas, where I'll be drawing some of the more famous NPCs from Animal Crossing. But until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!